I'm going to show you my favorite way to make a provisional cast on, which is very simple. You could do it with a piece of scrap yarn, but I prefer to use a stitch keeper, these plastic tube things, because they are very practical when putting the stitches back on the needle when you need them. The first step is tying a knot, securing the yarn and the stitch keeper together. Then I just hold the stitch keeper with my thumb and middle finger and carry the yarn on my index finger. The needle is held alongside the stitch keeper, and I pick up the stitches by going under the stitch keeper, over the yarn, and then over the stitch keeper, and again over the yarn. And I repeat this under, over, over for as many stitches as needed. So I'm going to make a few here. Okay, let's say this is enough. Then you have all your live stitches on the needle and the provisional cast on stitches on the stitch keeper. Turn and bring the yarn under the stitch keeper. From here you knit in whichever way the pattern tells you to. Simply knit the stitches as they present, and they all present in the same way because you always went over the yarn. So here we are, and now you have your stitches, your first row, and the live stitches on the stitch keeper for whenever the pattern calls for using them. You can just thread your stitch keeper onto the needle and pass the stitches onto the needle. So you knit until the end of all the stitches. Now we reach the first one, and that's your provisional cast on. You can keep the yarn fastened to the stitch keeper, but once you've worked a bit further on, you can release it and then tie the stitch keeper together to keep the stitches safe and secure.